The interest in the crypto Jews is relatively recent, if 20 years is recent. I don't know, I'm 52. It is recent in that it wasn't present in my Mexican education. And here I'd like to say that one of the things we didn't grow up with, in everything that I told you about going to Yiddish school, everything that I told you about our parents giving us a sense of what our continuity with the past, is that we were never told the history of Mexican Jews. Perhaps because this was a relatively new community, new diasporic chapter, or perhaps because the Jews were not ready at that time to think of themselves in historical terms in Mexico. You know, it takes a step to start seeing yourself with a distance, in retrospect, as a historical character. And so it wasn't until I left Mexico that I started reading about Mexican Jewish history. And I discovered, for instance, that the very same place where my paternal grandmother first kissed my paternal grandfather in the Alameda Central, in this Central Park that is in downtown Mexico City, was where the autos de fe took place. And there is a plaque that says Plaza del Quemadero, Plaza of the Burnings. There's a photograph of the two of them shortly after the kiss with a park photographer that has gone from one member of the family to another. And in studying it, I realized that little sign is at the very end. And I went in a trip that I did to Mexico to see what that plaque was. And I realized that in the very first act of romance, of passion, of maybe creating a new family, they were refuting the hatred that had taken place against Jews in Mexico without knowing it. And why didn't they know it? Because the Eastern European Jews arrived to Mexico as Yiddish speakers, thinking they were the first, that Mexico had no Jewish history whatsoever. And we lived under that veil, under that premise for a long time, until I left Mexico, that I started going deeper into that past. So crypto Jews for me today are an essential component, a key that I stress time and again in understanding the path of the expulsion in 1492 to who we are today, and a chapter we can no longer afford to ignore. The purpose of the book is precisely to say, look, I'm a Mexican Jew, but I'm a Mexican Jew of Ashkenazi background. There were Sephardic Jews. We need to know about them, and we need to connect the two.